Welcome to Heartland Dual Sport. In today's video, we're going to be answering a few questions. One of the questions that I was asked recently was about the Gen 3 tribe. The Gen 3 tribe is a Facebook group that we've created to help other KLR 650 owners, especially the Gen 3 owners, answer questions, a place to share. And in my mind, it's just another great way to network amongst the group between our YouTube channel and other individuals as well. From time to time, there may be somebody that asks a question on the Gen 3 Tribe Facebook group, a question, maybe they're indecisive about buying the KLR. Maybe they have a question about a recent purchase. So again, what we try to do is, as a group, because there's a lot of members over there, we try to answer everybody the best we can and give other advice. It's also a great place to share other tips and ideas and ways to improve the KLR 650. So today's video is going to be answering a couple of those questions. So let's get to the video. Again, thanks for tuning in, and if you're new to the channel, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Dale and I'll be your host here on Heartland Dual Sport. The very first thing we're going to be covering today in today's video is the 5 things I hate about the new KLR. Alright guys, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking that one of the things that I hate about the KLR is the new and improved fuel system. With the fuel injection and the way the new gas tank's designed, that there's potentially a complaint there. That's not it. I know the next thing you're probably thinking, oh, you probably hate the brand new and improved suspension that they've done, especially with the preload and rebound on the rear shock to make it easier to haul your luggage or your gear on an adventure. That's not it either. I know you're probably thinking it's the new adjustable windscreen that comes stock on every model of KLR, and that's not it either. Some of you are probably thinking it's the dependability or the reliability of the KLR that it's known for, which is why so many manufacturers end up comparing their bike to the KLR 650. And that's not it either. And I know that some of you at this point are probably thinking, I know what it is. He hates the fact that right off the showroom floor, he can start taking adventures, doesn't need to spend a gob of money to do it. All he needs to do is put gas in it and go ride and enjoy and start making memories. That's not it either. So now, in reverse order, the 5th thing that I hate most about the KLR 650. Number 4. The 4th thing that I hate most about the KLR 650. Number 3, the 3rd thing that I hate most about the new KLR 650. Number 2, the 2nd most hated thing about the KLR 650. Last but not least, the number 1 most hated thing about the new KLR 650 is when you have to put it in storage. If you're one of our military veterans who have asked this question on the KLR Gen 3 Tribe, I'd like to take a second and say thank you for your service, number 1. It's people like you who've sacrificed to make sure that we have the freedoms that we have so that we can continue to do what we do. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you to each and every one of the veterans out there who help keep our country safe. Storage was actually the question. So here's a few things to consider if you do have to put your bike in storage. Number 1, you need to address where the bike's going to be kept at. If you've got a friend or a family member who can actually leave it in their garage and maybe go out there and start it for you once a month, that would be extremely helpful. I know that that's not always the case, and sometimes you may actually have to be taking your bike to a storage unit. But one thing that I will tell you straight up front, one of the biggest problems with any kind of storage, especially long-term storage, is going to be rodents, specifically mice. I don't know what it is, but the wiring in most of your vehicles, as well as your motorcycles and everything else, it must taste like cotton candy to the mice. That is going to be your number one enemy for long-term storage. So if you do have to put it inside, say, a storage unit, try to make sure that you've eliminated any kind of food or anything that the mice would be tempted by initially. Maybe even set out some of the mouse traps, or have a friend who can go by regularly and just check on the bike and make sure that there aren't any rodents that are bothering your bike. Prior to the storage, there's a few things that you can do that might help it, especially depending on how long you're going to be gone. There's several companies that make a fuel stabilizer. I would definitely think about reading the directions on whichever one you pick out. Again, there's numerous companies that make it, but basically Sta-Bil is one of the ones that's very well known. This one here is by a company called Supertech, and it's just a fuel stabilizer. And as you can see, you've got the little cap over here where you can fill it up and you pour it in X how many ever gallons of gas you got. Another thing that you might want to think about is some sort of fuel injector cleaner type deal, especially when you get back and you're starting your bike up. If you've got old gas in there and the gas is real old and you didn't have time to do the stable, I'd try to drain the tank before you start it up, put some fresh gas in it, and maybe even some fuel injector cleaner at that time as well. Some of the other things that you can do is just make sure that your axles are lubed with a waterproof grease, make sure that your chain is lubed up before you have to put it in storage, and just general maintenance. I'm not a fan of covering bikes, and the reason being is once you kind of put a blanket over it, your rodents perceive that as their cave now, and it gives them more opportunity to get in there and destroy things. One of the biggest costly things that's ever happened to me as far as motorcycle ownership was Angie and I, we've got an off-grid cabin, and it's actually, we talk about it quite a bit in our other channel, which is Heartland Makes and Outdoors, and we've stored her four-wheeler there several years, in fact. And during our move, from the time I retired till we got here to East Texas, it was a little over a year that we were away from the cabin. We just simply didn't have time. We had too much stuff going on, and it's a 3.5, 4 hour drive to get there. So by the time I was able to get there, the mice had gotten in there and tore up a bunch of stuff, and basically it cost me $1,600 to get her four-wheeler repaired just so that it was rideable again. The next thing that you want to think about is one of the little trickle chargers, and those are basically just a battery maintainer. They're not really what you would call a true charger, but it will keep your battery on par. And again, that's one of the things. We were leaving her bike anywhere from sometimes 3 to 6 months without it being on any kind of charger, because it's an off-grid cabin. There's no electricity there. Generally, if I would fire it up right when I got there and let the motorcycle or her four-wheeler run for about 15 minutes, it would revamp the battery and get it going good enough, because it does have a good recharging system built in when the motorcycle's running, four-wheeler's running. But if you don't have a buddy who's going to be able to start it or keep it running for you, think about buying one of those. Those are really, really cheap. I'll put a link down below to the one we use. It's just a regular, like I say, it's battery tender deal, and it's a real simple plug-in. I'll show you a picture real quick, because I've installed one on Angie's. We did have to replace her battery. In fact, I replaced it 2 days ago. I've been milking it for the last year since I went and got her four-wheeler and brought it home. Again, we don't ride it a whole lot, and the battery is basically going to be a problem, and it's something that you can easily fix by just, it's 2 wires. You hook one to the ground, you hook one to the battery, and there again, it's got a little port that comes out that's got a weatherproof cover on it, so you can leave it on your bike year round. It's also got little different plug-ins, which makes it easier if you need to jump start your bike without having to pull everything off. because there's another little connector, and I'll show you a picture of that, to where you can actually plug it into the same receptacle that's going to the lead on your battery, and you can hook up jumper cables straight to it. And or there's also a little port. I used to have one, I used it quite a bit. You can plug it in because it's going straight to your battery, and now you've got a little USB charger right there on the side of your bike. You guys have watched my videos, you've watched me riding around, and I've got it on my bike. You can't even see it unless you know what you're looking for. So it's nothing obtrusive on your bike, and it's actually something that will help you, especially if you're doing the long-term storage. Again, as many of you know, Angie was in the Marine Corps when she got out of high school. I can't thank you guys enough for all your service. I hate the fact that some of you are going to have to be storing your bike for extended periods of time, and this will even apply for us guys that live maybe in the colder parts of the nation. Just things to think about when you're going to have to store your bike for long periods. And again, guys, just real quick, the one thing I do want to say is I've been riding motorcycles for a long time. As many of you know, I started riding motorcycles way before the age of 14, but age 14 I was a licensed motorcycle rider in the state of Oklahoma. You can look at me, you can look at my white beard. That's more than just a few days ago. I've been riding motorcycles a long time. However, every time that we do one of these videos, I know that, as you can tell, I am aging. There's going to be things I forget. There's going to be things that I forget to talk about. And here's what I love most about our group and our channel and our supporters. If there's something that you feel is very important and or you would like to contribute to the efforts, please put a comment down below. Let me know what it was I forgot, or let me know one of the things that you do differently, and let's all share and learn together, because there's nothing better when you get a community of people who are willing to help, share with others, and help them learn too. And that's one of the things that I love about each and every one of you. So again, I can't thank you enough. Again, we appreciate your likes, comments, and subscribes. If you like our video, give us a big thumbs up. We appreciate each and every one of you. We couldn't have this channel if it wasn't for you, and we thank you all for all your support. Again, may you have a blessed week, and let's go ride. As mentioned in the intro, we're going to be answering some questions that we've been asked, whether it be on YouTube or the Facebook group. But today, a couple of them are specifically coming from the Facebook group. The very first thing that we're going to cover in today's video is the 5 things I hate about the Honda. The easiest way to answer this is, number 1, for storage, what I would do for my KLR is I'd put some